Welcome to The Explainer. So today, we're going to look past the incredible, timeless hits of rock icon Tom Petty and really dig into the man himself, the principled rebel who fought tooth and nail for his music, his fans, and his own integrity.
You know, it's a question we probably all ask about our musical heroes, right? And the answer, it's almost never just about hit songs or packing stadiums. It's usually something much, much deeper.
For Tom Petty, his legendary status was really forged in these moments of pure principle and sometimes outright defiance. His sense of integrity often put him on a collision course with the very industry that made him a star. And it all started from this one single moment that changed everything.
See, Petty's musical journey didn't kick off in some smoky club or a recording studio like you'd think. Nope, it started on a movie set in Florida, all from a chance encounter when he was just a kid, maybe 10 or 11 years old.
That vision was Elvis Presley. Petty was just completely blown away. He later said the music just hypnotized him. And at that point, it wasn't even about dreaming of being a musician, it was just this powerful moment that completely altered the course of his life. And yeah, that effect, it was immediate. The very next day, he was out there, trying to find every Elvis record he could get his hands on. That one event lit a fire in him for music that would, well, define the entire rest of his life. But you know, that pure love for music pretty quickly ran headfirst into the cold, hard realities of the music business. And that collision sparked some of Tom Petty's most legendary fights for control, both creative and financial. So here's the deal, literally. In a typical record contract, the label owns the master recordings. That's the original source of everything. This gives them a massive amount of power over an artist's work. And that was a system Petty was absolutely determined to challenge. In 1979, he did something kind of radical. His record contract got sold to the massive label MCA, and he flat out refused to be traded like property. To get out of it, he funded his next album himself, went $500,000 into debt, and even declared bankruptcy. He was willing to risk his entire career over this principle. Yeah, he basically drew a line in the sand with that one. He refused to let his next album, Damn the Torpedoes, come out under those old terms. And in the end, MCA actually gave in. They signed him to a brand new multi-million-dollar deal. But his fight for what was fair, it was far from over.
All right, so picture this. It's 1981, and a brand new album costs you $8.98. That was the standard price everyone was used to paying.
But MCA decided they'd use Petty's next big album, Hard Promises, to test out something new they called superstar pricing. They were going to raise the price by a whole $1.
To Petty, this was just a total betrayal of the very people who got him there. He felt like the label was trying to rip off his audience and, well, true to form, he fought back. Hard.
He threatened to either just not release the album at all, or, and this was brilliant, he threatened to retitle it $8.98 after the price it was supposed to be. Faced with another public relations disaster, the label folded. Again.
And you know, these huge, high-stakes fights, they weren't just about money or contracts. They really show you what Petty was actually fighting for, the freedom to make music with the people he loved on their own terms.
And that loyalty to his bandmates? It went way back. I mean, more than 3 decades after his very first band, Mudcrutch, broke up, Petty still had this nagging feeling that they never really got a fair shake. That band actually had future Heartbreakers Mike Campbell and Benmont Tench in it, but it fell apart before they made it big. So what does he do? In 2008, he just gets the band back together. The whole thing was just about pure joy and instinct. They recorded live in a room, trying to capture that magic that had been sitting there, dormant for decades. And you know, this spirit of just joyful, spontaneous creating, it would lead to another legendary and completely accidental collaboration. You know, some of the best stuff in music history wasn't planned out in a boardroom. It just happens, completely by accident, born from friendship and a little bit of good timing. And that is the perfect description for how the Traveling Wilburys happened. It was a total happy accident. George Harrison just needed one more song, a B-side. But when he got his friends together in a room, we're talking Petty, Bob Dylan, Roy Orbison, and Jeff Lynne, the song they made was just way too good to be a throwaway. The chemistry was just off the charts. In fact, that same exact vibe, that spontaneous, no ego, let's just have fun energy from the Wilbury sessions is what led directly to one of Tom Petty's biggest and most iconic solo hits,
Get this, the song Free Fallin' was written in about 30 minutes. 30! Petty was just messing around on a keyboard, playing a riff to make his friend Jeff Lynne laugh. He sang the first verse right there on the spot, Lynne jumped in with the chorus idea, and bam, a timeless anthem was born from a simple joke between friends.
But, maybe the real test of someone's character isn't just about fighting the big guys. It's about having the guts to look in the mirror and face your own mistakes.
Back during his 1985 Southern Accents tour, Petty used the Confederate battle flag as part of the stage set. It was a decision he would come to regret deeply.
Years later, in an interview, he didn't shy away from it. He faced it head-on, calling his past actions just plain stupid. And this quote here, it just shows this incredible capacity for empathy and a real willingness to grow and evolve as a person.
So when you ask that question, Tom Petty's whole career is basically the answer. For him, an artist owes their audience, well, everything. Fairness, honesty, amazing music, and the courage to always stand for what's right, even if that means admitting you were once wrong.